work. So basic threats that all either get counters on themselves or work well with counters, alongside Dromoka's Command, Hardened Scales, Valor Stance, Feat of Resistance, and Citadel Siege to top off the curve.
A bit of a theme deck here for Caleb Ellis, who will start things off with the Canopy Vista. We are underway here in round number 4 from Indianapolis. Copeland with a Sandstep Citadel. Now here is a Hangerback Walker. Not much of a surprise. Very popular card here this weekend. Wooded Foothills here from Mark. He'll just pass the turn back. Slow start here for him. It'll be an Avatar of the Resolute.
Combo!
Indeed it is. Here comes Hangerback Walker for 1. Ellis with the follow-up will be a Windswept Heath, and he'll pass the turn back. Avatar, a lot of interesting text going on this card. It's got Reach and Trample, and right now it's a 4/3. It's got good base stats, and it only gets better.
Yep. Classic offense, defense, split of keywords here with Reach and Trample. Good numbers up front, although creatures in Magic have gotten a lot better over the last 5 or 6 years, so not overwhelming numbers, but if you're already building a deck with a lot of 1/1 counters, a great payoff. And now we see the complexity with fetching coming in, because you got to fix your mana. And you would like to get dual lands in a lot of spots, but you also kind of want to get basics. So your dual lands, your battle lands down the line come into play untapped. And all of this makes fetching very, very complicated.
It's pretty hard. A lot of the time you think you just search for a battle land, but going to go with the basic forest so the battle lands can enter the battlefield untapped moving forward. Copeland will draw a copy of Sorin. There is Wooded Foothills, so he'll take another one. And now we'll see which land he wants to search for. He'll go with another forest.
I believe Caleb Ellis, our green-white Hardened Scales player here, beat Joe Lissette last round.
Indeed. What's the follow-up? It's going to be a Deathmish Raptor. Good blocker on this board, of course. Ellis will sacrifice his Windswept Heath. See what land he wants to search up, if it'll be a basic or non-basic. It'll be a battle land there in Canopy Vista.
Mana base very straightforward here for Ellis. 8 green fetch lands, 4 Canopy Vistas, 5 4 6 plains.
All right, that's pretty straightforward, actually. Jeez. Ellis will draw. Loaded Foothills there. He'll sacrifice that very quickly. Curious to see where he's going this turn, because he's not wasting any time here. Search up a basic forest. Is it time for a very powerful 4-mana spell, perhaps? It appears that it is. It's Citadel Siege. Well, we'll see which way we're going to go with this.
Yeah, I mean, both modes are kind of attractive right now.
Going to go with cons. Avatar is large and in charge and coming into the red zone.
6 power Trampler.
Yeah, that's a 6/5 right now. Beginning of combat, on your turn, put 2+1/+1 counters on a target creature you control. Let me tell you, a lot of fun to playing against that limited format.
I didn't play any of this limited format at all, but I did hear rumblings about this card.
This was the one that caused the moans and the groans. There'll be a little bit of trample damage here. These creatures are going to trade. Deathmish Raptor, of course, has trample, or excuse me, death touch. So the Avatar of the Resolute's going to bite the dust. But some damage is dealt, and going to get the Deathmish Raptor off the battlefield. Hangerback Walker, it likes counters. See, it's a combo.
Yeah, it synergizes with counters.
Mm-hmm. There are 2 basics out there, so now here's a Siege Rhino. Able to pay the cost for that. Black from the Smoldering Marsh, green from the Forest, white from the Sandstep Citadel, trigger, drain and gain. We've seen this song and dance before. Here's another copy of Avatar of the Resolute.
Combo.
Indeed. Bigger is better. It's back to being a 6/5. It's already outclassed Rhino, which is pretty impressive. Now I'm going to pass the turn back.
Three copies of Dromoka's Command in Copeland's list here. Pretty important. He finds one soon. Citadel Siege is going to make blocking very, very tough.
Up next list is pretty powerful right now. For all the cool stuff that Ellis is doing, Copeland is just being pretty straightforward, flexing his muscles. Kill your creature. Looks like Hangerback Walker is going to block little bit of trample damage. 2 Thopters are going to come out.
I'm not sure if I'm thrilled with that attack there from Copeland, as this makes it very easy for Ellis to kill Obnixilis on the way back.
Yep.
Maybe Copeland just assumes it's not long for this world, no matter what he does.
Well, there are the Thopters. Ellis will draw. There's a Wooded Foothills. Let's see what the follow-up is. Another Citadel Siege.
Again, both modes are pretty attractive.
Yep. Cons again. Going to grow one big one. We might see that take care of Obnixilis here. Might just go straight to the dome. Yeah, I think maybe ignoring Obnixilis is fine right now. It can't kill another creature.
If Ellis was going to take that approach, then I think I would have preferred at least sending the other Thopter at Obnixilis. You don't want Copeland to get to a spot where he's threatening to -3 the big machine you're building up here. And I don't think Ellis is really in a position to chump block this turn, so attacking Obnixilis for 1 seems like a freebie to me.
Here's Sorin. That's going to tick up. These creatures get +1/+0 and lifelink. Don't love a chump block with the token. Not really going to accomplish very much there.
Right. This is the reason that I think Ellis would have been better served. Another route he could have taken last turn was simply set the second Citadel Siege to dragons, contain the Siege Rhino that way. Your first Citadel Siege allows you to take away Obnixilis just the same way.
I believe Undergrowth Champion the draw.
Though Ellis does have a lot of Planeswalker management in play. He can go ahead right now and take care of both Sorin and Obnixilis very easily.
Yeah, it's not hard for him to do it all.
Life total is a bit of a concern.
Here's Undergrowth Champion. There are 2 fetch lands on the battlefield, so sacrifice 1. Go down to 7. That'll put a counter on the Undergrowth Champion.
It's not a bad setup here for Ellis. I mean, it's not as good as if he had Hardened Scales going, but this is not shabby.
It's fine. Sacrifice another one, get another counter.
He's got to be very careful with how he manages his various creatures and the Citadel Sieges right now, though, because his life total is low. Playing against a deck that you would assume has a lot of removal, and one slip can get him killed.
I'm going to see where that Thopter's going here. Morph is going to be, I believe, a Den Protector. Looks like the Thopter went to Copeland.
And this is another turn of, the other Thopter that wasn't pumped did not attack, and it does not appear likely to block.
Yeah. Copeland going to take a look at Undergrowth Champion, and one thing that Obnixilis can do is take care of that.
And this is why I think it was important for Ellis to at least threaten the Obnixilis a little bit. You don't want to get off the table necessarily. That's fine, but you can't allow this sequence to happen.
Yeah, if you split the difference with counters, kind of move him around to different spots, you don't work yourself in the situation that he's in now, which is he built 1 large threat. Now he's kind of chump blocking against a trampling Rhino. That's not really going to get a lot of work done. And it felt like he had the resources to win this game, but it feels like he mismanaged them.
Yeah.
So now it's 14-2. Hangerback Walker is a follow-up here for Mark. And now he's in the driver's seat in a big way. Caleb will take another draw step. Looks like it's a Windswept Heath, but that's not going to help him here. Does have a Den Protector as his morph. And he will unmorph that. I get a counter, of course, for Megamorph. But I don't think there's too much that's useful down there in the graveyard for him.
And none of these creatures are very effective at blocking tramplers.
That's going to push this up. Den Protector is going to come across. This is a pretty aggressive attack, depending on what he returned.
I think he is just going to be dead on the way back to
Yeah.
trample.
Yeah, there's a fetch land. I'll put a counter on the Undergrowth Champion here, but he's just dead on the way back from Trample on Hangerback Walker.
Yeah, Copeland just confirming there, and you can see the little pause of recognition. I mean, the Windswept Heath triggering a landfall washes out the same because it's +1/+1, but it's a point of damage, and we're
Yep.
talking about trample damage here. So
Suppose there's the off chance that Mark misses it, but I believe he's good to go for a lethal attack here.
yeah, assuming Ellis has no cards in hand, this is pretty straightforward.
Obnixilus will draw. Obzon Charm of the draw makes it even easier. So there's Obzon Charm. I'm going to take care of the Den Protector. Does Mark somehow not see the kill here?
I mean, it's okay.
Yeah, sacrifice that. It's going to go down to 1. That'll get a counter, but still going to trample over for the W. It'll be plenty of damage.
Yep. Again, this does not save anything.
Yeah. He'll assign lethal damage to the creature, but trample damage still happens, so there's nothing that says he has to assign all the damage to that. So I believe checking with the table judge here to confirm exactly how damage works with Undergrowth Champion, given it's a new card and a new effect. But yeah, that's going to take care of it. So Mark Copeland's going to win game number 1 here over Caleb Ellis. Obzon with red splashing for Crackling Doom. Currently up a game over the green-white Hardened Scales deck. Didn't see any of the namesake cards, none of the splash cards or Hardened Scales show up there.
Right. And you know, that spot there, that has been a source of change in Magic's rules historically. There's been times where, you know, you had a prevention effect blocking a trampler, protection from color being the most famous example. Way back in the day, you had to assign basically everything to the creature. Protection from color, damage prevention, locked-out trample. Now it's been like this for several years now. You just have to assign up to toughness. The rest get assigned over, even if the lethal damage on the creature doesn't kill it.
To the sideboards, we're going to go. We will take a look at the Hardened Scales deck first. I'm hoping for some counters action in there.
2 copies of Feat of Resistance, 3 copies of Inspiring Call, and 2 copies of Irrational Cleric, a Naturalize and Erase, 2 Windstorms, another Mana Gorger Hardra, 2 Plummets, 1 Brave the Sands. Not really interested in too much here except for the extra copies of Feat of Resistance. The removal spells in Copeland's deck here on the inefficient side, and Feat's a very efficient card at protecting his threats, and the counter synergies are there as well.
Other side of things here for Mr. Copeland, he's got 3 Irrational Clerics, 2 Radiant Flames, 2 Self-Inflicted Wound, 2 copies of Tragic Arrogance, 4 copies of Transgress the Mind, the brand new discard spell, and then 2 copies of Utter End.
I can get behind Transgress the Mind. The copies of Utter End seem okay. I think Tragic Arrogance is very good for this matchup. Ellis puts a lot of stuff on the table and is trying to grow large threats, so I think Arrogance is well suited for this matchup. You can even justify Self-Inflicted Wound and Radiant Flames, so a lot of great options for Copeland.
Tragic Arrogance was a card that was really on a heavy incline as the last standard season kind of came to an end. Haven't heard a lot of conversation about the card recently, though.
Well, people are still kind of getting their bearings a little bit about what the metagame is exactly going to look like, and it's a card that even in the slower matchups isn't guaranteed to be good. It's very deck-specific, where you want it and what kind of deck you want to put it in. So I would be expecting to see that, not much of that card this weekend, if for no other reason than people aren't really sure what's going to be showing up.
Well, as these players who shuffle up here for game number 2, Caleb Ellis will be on the play. We'll talk about our Season 3 Invitational champion in Alex Postecki, who did defeat Stephen Mann in the finals in New Jersey a couple months ago. That's why he's headed to the Players' Championship, and that's why he's got this Germ token that is now available here on the Open Series, and a couple other ways to go about getting it as well.
Yeah, anytime you register for one of our 2-day $20,000 Open Series main events, you get a token here. Any of our 5K Premier IQ registrations, which are both the events that we run here on Sundays at the Open Series events and events that you can bring to your local store, and any sort of from StarCityGames.com, $5 or more will come with this Alex Postecki Germ token.
I'm a fan. Kind of hanging out in a beaker.
Some tests going on here.
Gonna find out exactly what I can do with this. Maybe, yeah, Batterskull's too easy. He's got to dial up the Bone Horde.
I like it.
That's what I say. I say get a Bone Horde out there. I'm not a big Flare Husk guy. I'm not a big Flare Husk guy. I'm not a big Flare Husk guy. I think there's like a Sickle Scythe, I think the name of the card is. There's a couple Living Weapon cards. That was actually when I was kind of taking a break from Magic.
Nightmare Lash, I think, is one of them.
Yeah, I think so.
It's Nightmare. Nightmare Text.
Yeah. Sickle Slicer, bang. I think I got it right.
Yeah.
Pretty nice. This is during the Living Weapon days. Batterskull, obviously, the best of the bunch by a laughable amount. But I actually thought that was kind of a cool idea as far as
It's
mechanic
sweet.
is concerned.
Yeah, the flavor is really good, and it's also an easy sell to players. So, you know, it makes sense that what's the spot where equipment's bad? When you don't have a creature. This is equipment that comes with a creature. Very easy for people to react positively to it.
Lash Wraith.
Oh, Lash Wraith.
There you go.
Just assumed it was Nightmare Lash, which is what it should be named because this is Nightmare Text. But I don't work on their creative team, so instead it's Lash Wraith.
Now there's one.
Oh, I got it confused with the other Nightmare equipment. Man. God. You know, I'm sorry, that's my fault.
Yeah.
That is through and through my fault.
That's all on you. There's nothing you can say.
Wow. I just got confused with the other one.
A Mirrodin block, I want to say superstar, but it was super mediocre.
Yeah. Is equip cost pay 3 life tough to play in a format where everyone has 20 shatters?
Yes.
It's a little rough.
Yes, it is.
A little rough to play.
No alternate equip cost either. You just have to pay 3 life.
I just got it confused with I am getting so old. I just got confused with a totally different Magic card, which existed, but in my own head, I was just thinking like that should just be the name of the card.
But you see, you can't name a different card the same name. So
No,
you can't do
my
that.
apologies to the creative team.
that.
My
That's
earlier criticisms.
Part of the reason you're not on it.
Very, very poorly informed.
There you go. We're underway here in game number 2.
Whoa.
A Canopy Vista via Wooded Foothills here for Caleb Ellis, while Mark Copeland just starts off with the basic planes. This is a hangerback walker. Mark did mulligan to 6 and kept on top with the Vancouver mulligan rule, which is beginning here this weekend. Just take it all in. It's okay. It's just called aging.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Me and Tom Coughlin both. The age is starting to show a little bit.
Time to take the keys away. Time to take the keys away from old grandpa here in the booth. Another hangerback walker here for Caleb. There's a windswept heath.
This is the second game in a row where Caleb has, just hit on the third turn with a hangerback walker. I think 2 is the sweet spot against a deck like Obzon. You want to get some pressure going, so you don't want to wait all day. Also, Obzon Charm starts becoming a consideration if you wait, if you go up to a third power. So I would prefer a pump there on the second turn, or the third turn rather, than attacking for 1.
Looks like it might be Death Miss Raptor, and it is. It's going to play the role of roadblock here, or at least try to. Ellis will sacrifice that windswept teeth. We'll see what land he wants to search up.
Ellis here, I believe, with a copy of Dramoka's Command in hand. So he's got a fine answer in the short term to this Death Miss Raptor. Can pump up a hangerback walker, brawl with it, pump again, get some Thopters for his trouble.
Wooded Foothills the draw.
But Death Miss Raptor is a problematic threat for Ellis' strategy because no matter how large he makes any of his threats, Death Touch still gets the job done.
It's always going to be a problem for him.
His creatures, because of the pump effects, it's very easy for them to run over small stuff. And he's got a couple copies of Valorous Stand, or he's 4 actual main deck copies of Valorous Stands alongside 2 copies of Citadel Siege. Those are good cards at containing big stuff, but Death Touch threats in the middle, it's a little awkward for him. Ooh, and a Hardened Scales, I think it's going to happen.
Yeah, you're excited.
Well, you can play the Hardened Scales, you can pump, you can Dramoka's Command.
There's a lot to do.
Combos.
There's literally combos everywhere. Here's an Absolute, an Avatar of the Resolute, excuse me. And now here's your fight.
This is not how I would have gone about business here.
I don't think he's maximizing his potential on that turn at all.
Yeah, I think that to me is just a pump a hangerback walker, brawl, get some Thopters, beat in. Not a bad turn, but not the best that could have been set up.
Could have been a great turn. There's a Wooded Foothills. Den Protector is going to enter the battlefield. Yeah, pass the turn back over to Ellis. And then protecting the draw for him. And here's Dromoka's command. Put a counter there, fight there. There goes the morph. Here come the beatdowns. Looks like one will hang back. So a healthy amount of damage will be dealt.
Yeah, and I like pressuring with the big one, but leaving the other one back to block, or and to pump, rather.
Abzan Charm in hand here for Mark Copeland.
Feeder resistance as well.
Interesting.
This could be really good. Now, there's going to be this weird, dance here. I think, Copeland is, if he does it right now, this feat's going to be great.
Hey, he's going to try for it right now. Well, there's feet. I'll give it a +1/+1 counter and give it protection from the Abzan Charm. Pick any of those 3 colors.
Yep.
It'll work just fine.
And this is, 2 turns in a row here where Ellis has swallowed up Copeland's turn. One last turn with Dromoka's command, and now this turn with the feeder resistance is applying pressure, growing the hanger back walkers. Just a really good setup going on right now.
Here's an attack for 4. Copeland down to 7 after this fetch line activation. And as we've said so many times this weekend, there's not a card like Elspeth to bail these Abzan decks out anymore.
Right.
Elspeth would be great right now. Just play it, make some tokens, chump block for days, work towards an emblem. Life is pretty good. That's not a line of play anymore.
There used to be a lot of threats that were on the ground, didn't have trample, and were a little on the slow side. And Elspeth was very punishing to those cards.
Wooded Foothills the draw. That'll be the land for the turn. Hangback Walker going to charge up. Caleb will draw. He'll play a Hardened Scales.
Combo.
Here's an attack for 6. Mark has Crackling Doom.
Which I think that Ellis was just assuming it was going to be some 3-mana removal spell.
Yep.
Crackling Doom's totally fine for Ellis here. Gets 4 Thopters for his trouble.
Yeah. You don't mind this at all, really.
Yeah. Ellis is ready to go for the kill there because if Copeland plays a targeted removal spell, it's lethal. He feats it, and then there's 7 or 8 coming across because of the scales.
He'll have to take 2, but he does get 4 Thopters for his trouble.
Still a great setup here for Ellis.
It's part of the reason that maybe Crackling Doom isn't well positioned right now. This is not the first time that we've seen it take care of a Hangerback Walker, which is not great at all.
Right.
No doubt Crackling Doom is a very powerful card, but a lot of Hangerback Walkers running around right now in the metagame.
And Copeland's paying a cost. It's not like he's already playing Mardu to begin with. He's touching red in his Abzan deck to be able to play this card. He's taking more damage off of his... he has to play more fetch lands to take more damage. His battle lands are going to be coming into play tap sometimes. So this is not free. You got to make sure that Crackling Doom's a very powerful card before you introduce it to this deck.
The draw is, oh boy, that's...
Self-inflicted wound, huh? All right, let's a quick survey of the board, which will show us a Morph, 4 Thopters, and a Hangerback Walker. So, nice.
Not the best draw.
Now, there's spots where that card is going to be fine for Copeland.
Yes.
This just is not one of them.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Here's Feeder Resistance. That'll give something protection from a color to push through the necessary damage here, it looks like.
Hardened Scales combo.
Yep. Just wants to show it off a little bit here. Everybody's coming in. That's going to do it for this game. So, Caleb Ellis and Mark Copeland will get ready for a 3rd and final game here. Grew on Hardened Scales and Abzan red, getting ready to do battle. So he was going to move on to 4-0 here.
I think I would remove Crackling Doom from my deck
Only
for game 3.
Only 2 copies in the main deck here for Mark. There will be situations where it's okay, but it is so bad against Hangerback Walker.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that situation is always going to manifest, but it is truly terrible against that card.
And even setting that aside, Ellis has 4 copies of Den Protector. He can play a longer game. His deck's not that bad against removal spells. You also can't fizzle Dromoka's command all the time with Crackling Doom if Ellis is savvy about it. It's it's a problematic spell.
These players will shuffle up here for game number 3. Obviously, some innovating going on by both of these two players, which leads us right here into the Next Level Library by Patrick Chapin, the innovator.
2 books available, Next Level Magic, which focuses on play, and Next Level Deck Building, as you would predict, focusing on deck building. For players of all ability levels, whether you've just started or you're a competitive player trying to take your game to the next level, both of these books are extremely valuable, available in paperback and ebook right now at starcgames.com/nextlevel.
Chapin's been writing his set review recently. Always a lot of fun to watch, and he is one of the best at identifying the new cards and what they're going to be able to do.
I would describe him as thorough in his set reviews.
A great way to explain it.
Now, and what I like is Chapin was very clear from the get-go that the mana is going to be a little loose here. You can do a lot of different things. He hasn't undersold that point. But after saying that that's his position, he's explored a lot of different cards. He's not just talking about what removal spell can go into Abzan or what 1-drop can go into Atark or Red. Whatever kind of strategy you're into, Chapin explores all the cards and the possibilities of where they could show up. Even if they don't show up in a deck, it's still helpful to think of cards that way. Get away from the good-bad binary and start focusing more on what are the decks or circumstances that will be required for card decks to be good. Way more productive.
No reason to point out the negatives.
Right.
Let's find the positives and how the cards can be used. Maybe this is just relegated to the sideboard. That's fine.
Now, that's not saying that you should try things just for the sake of trying them, but you should keep an open mind. Chapin's Modern deck recently, the
Team of Prowess deck.
The Team of Prowess deck. Yeah. A lot of unorthodox cards there, but you can see the strategy is sound. You can tell what he's up to. But that's, you come up with those decks because you just don't discount parts of the card pool. That's how you're able to do it.
Yeah, I think about the Pro Tour where he played that Esper Delve deck with Gurmag Angler and Tassiger. I think it was in Modern that he did that, and he ended up going 0-5 in the constructed portion after starting off 3-0 in draft. And, he just said, I didn't play very well. My deck was probably built wrong, but, there's something here. And as we see now, Delve cards are being banned left and right. Gurmag Angler, Tassiger, both busted cards. So he's on to something then.
Yep.
Just wasn't all the way fleshed out as we were watching game number 3 here. Heart and Scales to start there for Caleb. Now he's got a Canopy Vista that on the battlefield tapped. But his namesake card's on the battlefield early, and we'll see what he can do with it. There's a Sansep Citadel. Both players off to some relatively slow starts here. It's an Avatar of the Resolute, but no counters for it.
Disappointing.
Yeah.
A disappointing start for Ellis.
There's Death Miss Raptor. Pass the turn back.
I think Ellis with no 4th land and a lot of slow cards in his hand.
There's another Growth Champion. No land to play, however. Wooded Foothills here for Mark.
I think Undergrowth Champion has the possibility of being good for certain decks and certain matchups, but against the Abzan style decks, it's not going to be that good. Just equipped with too many broad strokes removal spells that answer this thing too easily.
Multiple Abzan charms in hand there for Mark, kind of demonstrate that point.
Yeah.
You might get one good shot in, probably not anything past that. Ellis will untap. Valor stands the draw. That's a card I like a lot in this format.
But we're seeing the problem that Death Miss Raptor creates for Ellis's deck. He's trying to grow up some monsters here.
Here comes Avatar of the Resolute.
Ellis acknowledges he has to answer big creatures. Valor stands Citadel Siege help accomplish that. But Death Miss Raptor is a problem. It's a problematic card.
Yeah. There's a block. Feat of Resistance.
Huzzah! 2 counters.
A little trample damage. Death Miss Raptor out of here. Copeland will sacrifice that Wooded Foothills as well.
He got 2 counters from it.
He did.
Usually you only get 1.
You're right.
This time he got 2.
You are on top of it. You just have some coffee?
No.
No? Just firing.
I'm crashing.
I'm
crashing. I'm just trying to keep myself.
Firing all cylinders without the coffee.
Yeah.
Here's a Smoldering Marsh.
2 counters on a creature with trample. So many synergies.
Didn't get a great look at Copeland's draw step there.
I mean, land number 5 is a big deal for Copeland.
Yeah.
Because if he has it, he can play Den Protector, unmorph it, get a land, that's land number 6, gets the Death Mist Raptor out of the graveyard. And I think there's only so many times Ellis can try to slog through the Death Mist Raptor before it's too much.
He's coming in the red zone with this Death Mist Raptor. 3 damage will be dealt. Ellis will go down to 14. Crackling Doom, 2 Abzan Charms in hand. Just going to pass the turn back, though. There's a Mana Gorter Hydra. Oh, here come the beatdowns. You want to talk about getting +1/+1 counters.
Combo with Hardened Scales and spells from either player.
Yeah, either one.
It's an open-ended combo.
It is. Abzan Charm. Counters.
And if that was the plan that Copeland had here, he needed to respond to the Mana Gorge.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe he has another removal spell for it, but this is still... Now he has to kill it and probably just has to spend next turn killing it.
Now, he does have another copy of Abzan Charm in hand, so that'll be a convenient answer to the Mana Gorger Hydra, but I would have preferred to respond.
Well, it's possible if Copeland says to himself, I need to kill Mana Gorger Hydra on curve, that you actually let it grow so the Abzan Charm can kill it for sure. Not saying that's necessarily what's going on here, but it's not. If that's the line that he wants to take, then he's incentivized to let it grow.
Sure.
Because if it's a 2/2, he can't announce Abzan Charm on it in the first place.
One thing to note here, as we watch this game from Mark's side, as far as casting Crackling is concerned, very easy.
Yeah, you know, he has to play maybe an extra fetch line or two, and Smoldering Marsh is a cost. It's going to come into play tap sometimes and what have you, but it's not like it's hard to do from a mana-based perspective. I do question Sandstep Citadel in the deck once you're starting to play this 4-color base, because I think it interacts so poorly with the battle lands that you may just want to look for nothing but battle lands, fetch lands, and basics. Like the way Jerry Thompson's doing it makes a lot more sense to me than trying to play Sandstep Citadel.
Yeah, it's kind of weird where you're a 4-color deck and tri-lands are kind of being pushed out.
Yeah, they just interact so poorly with battle lands. At that point, you start having a lot of lands that are coming to play tapped. You really start feeling it. And for a deck like Abzan that struggles to play 2 spells in a turn, having lands coming to play tapped at inopportune times really compounds that problem.
Let's see what's here next here for Mark, as he did have land number 5.
And now, before Mana Gorger Hydra showed up, this would be a really good setup for Copeland to play Den Protector, get back Death Mist Raptor. Now I'm worried that this will grow the Mana Gorger Hydra so much that Copeland might get killed. I think this turn he had to kill Mana Gorger Hydra. I think this play is too risky.
I'll search up a land here with the Wooded Foothills. Get a basic forest. So there's the morph, which is a Den Protector, with the necessary mana, unmorph it, and bring back Death Mist Raptor.
And you know that Ellis's hand is nothing but spells.
He has plenty of lands. Because if he had lands, trust me, he'd be playing. He's got Undergrowth Champion on the battlefield.
Yeah.
Coming in the red zone. Unmorph Den Protector.
And if he does this before blocks, Feat of Resistance might be a big problem too.
Yeah. Death Mist Raptor's going to come back. He's just unsure if he wants it to come back as a morph or if he wants to come back face up.
Yeah, I mean, Copeland has to figure this all out first, and then... But I can't imagine wanting to spend your turn this way and not getting back a Death Touch blocker. Copeland's taking some pretty big risks here.
Yeah.
If he wants to, he can even, I guess he's going to defeat this. There's even an argument that he could defeat the Undergrowth Champion because the Mana Gorger Hydra is already basically unblockable in this spot, just tramples over everything.
6, 7, 8, 9. That thing is gigantic.
I think I would have preferred that because, he makes the Undergrowth Champion a 4/4 at that point, so there's no good block there. And the Mana Gorger Hydra is a 7/7 or something like that, so there's no good block there.
Yep.
This way, Copeland gets to go, all right, I'll put Den Protector in front of the Undergrowth Champion, and then all he needs is a removal spell for the Mana Gorger Hydra, and he's in the clear.
And we know he has one in hand with
Right,
Ice on Charm.
exactly. So, you know, I think Ellis might have been better served either just passing or growing the Undergrowth Champion, so at least he has 2 threats in play that matter.
Well, Deathmatch Raptor is a little bit chump blocking. Copeland's down to 5, however, right now. Wooded Foothills the draw.
And now is not a time for fanciness.
No, you do it now. If you have a removal spell, you cast it now. You don't let your opponent untap. You've already seen Feat of Resistance multiple times. There's room to believe a card like Valorous Chances in your opponent's deck something.
On top of that, Ellis has lethal on the table. So in spots where your opponent has lethal on the table, you're usually better served just casting things straight away because you can't trap them as easily. Because Ellis can simply go untap, attack you, balls in your court, do something. And then you start playing spells, you're playing into his instance. So it's extremely dangerous here for Copeland to untap because Ellis is likely just say, I'll attack you. And then you got to move, and if he's got Feat of Resistance, Valorous Stance, whatever, you can easily get tripped up.
Yeah, it's a world of trouble then.
Hard to imagine too much goes wrong here if you just use your removal spell straight away.
And even using your removal spell straight away lets you attack.
Yeah,
pretty safely.
And Ellis is on 11. I mean, it's not that, would not take that long to turn the corner.
Promo Seeker of the Way there from Copeland. That's a new one even for me.
And now, the problem is now, if you get tripped up in combat, I guess there's a Crackling Doom in hand, so it can only go so bad for Copeland. You have the ability just to cast that, be done with the mana.
Kind of save yourself.
Pretty safe.
But you don't know if he's got some weird trick.
Yeah, I'm so apprehensive about, because if something goes wrong here, you die. And Ellis can't really mess this up in any way because he's just going to go attack you. So I generally just prefer not getting fancy in spots like this.
There's an Avatar. It's going to get some counters. Should actually get some more counters because of the hardened scales.
No, two's right. There's one creature in play, and then...
Oh, no, you're right. Apologies. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, here come the dummies. Now, I think his mana might be tripped up.
Oh, I think he might have tapped in such a way that he can't.
Cast Crackling Doom?
He can. Abzan Charm is still fine, right? Because he's got... Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's still on the table to be cast, and he's going to cast it.
So that was incredibly risky. And in fact, I think if Ellis had just gone attack you, Valorous Stance would not have worked there.
Nope.
But Feat of Resistance would have worked had he just moved into combat if it was in his hand.
Undergrowth Champion's going to bite the dust. Seeker of the Way is going to gain life because it's a 3/3 because of prowess. So even though Copeland had a bit of a mistap on mana there, he's still okay.
Yeah, now he can turn the corner here fairly easily. Take care of the Avatar. He clocks in for 9 this turn with 1 spell.
Yep.
Should be good. A little disappointing here for Ellis. Just a little short on mana here the whole game. You can see he's got just a lot of, Den Protectors and Citadels. He just has not had the time to get on the battlefield.
No, he's been stuck. He's been stuck the entire game. There's Knobs on Charm. That'll take care of that. They also get a prowess trigger there. That's 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. Ellis going to fall down to 2. And I think the necessary mana to cast Crackling Doom for the final points if you'd like to.
I do not believe... No, he's got white, black, red.
Yeah, trying to identify the lands
Yeah,
is a lot of fun.
Just got to due diligence and all that.
Yeah, Smoldering Marsh will be your red, Sandstorm Citadel will be your black, and then Canopy Vista will be your white. And he does have the necessary mana, and it's always going to deal 2. That's the thing. Deals 2 damage to each opponent. They don't have to sacrifice the creature
Yeah.
deal 2. It's always going to deal 2, and then they have to sacrifice their highest powered creature, and that is going to do it. Mark Copeland's going to win this match over Caleb Ellis, 2-1. Obzon Red will take care of Green White Hardened Scales, and for Copeland, he moves on to 4-0.
Yep, and that's the type of deck, the one that Copeland's playing here this weekend, that I think that a lot of people in the room are playing something along these lines. Not necessarily exactly the cards that Copeland's playing, but you take one of the con shells. It's not that hard to add a 4th color in a deck. Flavor to taste. Whatever removal spells or threats you think are particularly well positioned, you get access to them. For Copeland, he gets access to Crackling Doom in his main deck, which, that's a card. There's going to be a lot of disagreement on it right now. I'm not too big on it, neither are you, but